Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus NXT. This is from November 9th, 2021. Man, this show has been on a steady decline as far as ratings and things like that go. But as far as the extracurricular stuff on the show, meaning non bell to bell wrestling, the show has become interesting, if not good. As far as the in ring, I said last week, and it got a lot of people to message me, mostly who disagreed, but I said if they had their way, the in ring stuff would basically almost not exist. They seem very they don't seem interested in that part of it. It just seems to be a means to an end as far as establishing characters and making them important in a pro wrestling context, but that they really seem to have very little interest in it. That's not to say the matches are necessarily bad. It's just the way that the matches are framed in the context of the show. It's definitely not center stage. And you could disagree with that or agree with it, but think that I'm right? So this NXT, I'm going to do it a little different. Instead of just going chronologically, I'm just going to talk about an overview of the show and then go into details as far as matches, since they only give a partial shit about that. That's just the truth. So we had a 6-woman clash with Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane against Io Shirai, Casey, and Kaden. We're going to see Kushida and Jiro take on Julius and Brutus Creed. And because the Diamond Mine has been messing with Kushida big time. And so they're calling their new alliance Jacket Time. It's fucking terrible. Kaylee Ray called her shot on Raquel Gonzalez. But she was passed over in the transition to 2.0. So Kaylee Ray is going to destroy everybody, starting with Saray. Apparently, that's her thing. And Joe Gacy has made a splash with the safe space rhetoric stuff. So Boa challenged Gacy and his dangerous partner Harland, because now we put Joe Gacy together with somebody scary, Harland. Yeah. So let's get into it. So we open with Toxic Attraction against Io Shirai, Catanzano, and Carter. Again, that AEW formula of start with something very exciting match-wise. How was it? It was all right. It was all right. Carter heads to the top rope, but gets distracted, of course. So good old Priscilla Kelly, Gigi Dolan pulls her down and hits an abdominal stretch bomb. Cool. So they get the win in a match that was all right. It started off really slow, but they really put the emphasis on the developing talent, which I thought was cool. But again, does that make for a great television show? I don't know. Kaylee Ray against Saray. This was not a very good match, but the story of it was that Kaylee Ray dropped her onto the announce table and then hit her with a second power bomb to win. I mean, it was nothing but a sequence of moves. Like I said, the in-ring is less important to them than the story, and that should always be the case in a sense, but really the in-ring just doesn't seem to really matter. And that's one thing you could always say about NXT was the in-ring was always stellar. It was always spectacularly done with basics adhered to and transitions that made sense. And now it's just, well, we're just getting to the big spots. Joe Gacy against Boa. It was terrible. It was just awful. Boa's wearing new paint because, gimmick. Boa stood in the corner. He's preparing for a win, but the lights went low. And so Boa snaps and he chokes out Gacy and gets disqualified. Playing music during a match it definitely did not accomplish the mood they were going for. I'll just be charitable and say that. So Jacket Time, Asian guys doing funny stuff. Boy, we've never seen that before. They're in singlets and headgear, and Creed brothers destroy them. Kushida feels really wasted in this, but you could say that about more than half the roster. Raquel Gonzalez calls out Dakota Kai and Cameron Grimes versus Ru Feng. Grimes defeats Feng, of course. Duke Hudson is watching closely, though. Hudson challenges him to a poker showdown next week. So they're still attempting to set up stuff for the next week's show, but not nearly like it used to be. I mean, yeah, I know you're just like, Steve, all you're doing is complaining about the show. It's just not very good. And again, I'm gonna have to make a decision soon after I watch Impact this week. If Impact continues to be a not great show, I'm gonna put up a poll. Which show should I stop watching? NXT or Impact? If it keeps going this way. LA Knights versus Solo Sikoa versus Grayson Waller. Triple threat action. This was pretty good. LA Knight does a good job of making those guys look good. So Sikoa hits a diving splash tonight. It was all action, man, and it was very, very good. Um, mm. So Waller not being involved in the finish is weird because they're trying to set up LA Knight and Waller. So it's odd, but it's whatever. Elektra Lopez against Erica Yan. Lopez wins. And then Quinn and Lopez share a moment in the ring, but she lets him walk away. So a budding romance between Quinn and Lopez. It could end up being a good thing, and after all, this is about training, so they're training these guys to actually be able to do some kind of angle and soap opera-y stuff. I know it sounds like a diss. It's not. I mean, this show is what it is. You might as well put them in angles, no matter how meh they are. The show just has a sense of impermanence about it. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's no longer a show that feels like a brand, but a show that feels like guys kind of training, and you're watching them train in some way, shape, or form. It reminds me of when we used to do training at WWA4 when I ran that school. I started a thing where we did Platinum Championship Wrestling shows on Thursday night that were gym shows, but it was really so the guys could get experience in front of a crowd, and those shows ended up catching on, but I never forgot what they were, which is we're putting you guys in, this is development. The difference is I wasn't expecting anyone to pay money or give TV time to watch it. And that's what we're watching here, sort of a glorified gym show. Wow, that's brutal. Carmelo Hayes against Pete Dunne. Dunne defeats Hayes with the bitter end to win, and it's a really good match. It was weird that Hayes took that loss, though. What a weird fucking show this is.